Red Bull has just received bad news from the FIA, as Red Bull is said to have failed one of the most important FIA crash tests. This sets back the Milton Keynes squad, as they now have to allocate more resources into the same parts of the new car to make sure everything is up to standard. Will they come back to haunt them during the season? The world champion team allegedly sent the first 2024 chassis to the dynamic frontal homologation test at Cranfield before Christmas, and the nose could not absorb the energy sufficiently, causing damage to the bodywork. The RB20 has been lightened to its weight limit at Milton Keynes. The test will be performed with an additional carbon skin, but the FIA's factory closure necessitates another review of the car's frontal impact. The news is certain to pique people's interest at this point. When the FIA's shutdown is in effect, F1 team members are on vacation and factories are closed until at least the start of the new year. Red Bull is said to have failed the front crash test with the first shell of the long-awaited RB20, the single-seater that is expected to be a significant evolution of the extraordinary RB19, with which Max Verstappen won his third Drivers' World Championship, and the Milton Keynes team won the Constructors' title by winning 21 races in 22. As a result, Red Bull did not receive the International Federation's homologation stamp for the body that was wrecked before Christmas in the crash test at Cranfield, when all British teams subjected their new cars to dynamic testing. It remains to be seen whether this accident on the road will slow down the world champion team's plans, which would have completed the car's unveiling around the 10th of February. The exact date has not yet been made official and could be conditioned by the outcome of the negative crash test. The company's philosophy is to go to extremes, risking failing the frontal test in order to have the lightest possible nose and chassis, and often all that is required is to add a carbon skin to fall within the FIA safety limits for absorbing energy in the event of a violent frontal impact. According to rumours, the RB20 will feature a shorter or hollowed-down nose in order to lose weight, since the world champion car was still over the 798 kg weight limit, and Adrian Newey is attempting to go under the limit with the new Milton Keynes design. Obviously, the world champion team has already taken countermeasures, but the halt in activity is likely to have an impact on the car's deliberations, given that chassis number 2 is scheduled for homologation. Some hope that there may be some split in the perfect system directed by Pierre Wache. We're confident that Milton Keynes is aware of the issues and remedies, and that this occurrence will have no impact on the 2024 season, despite the fact that the schedule will be a bit jumbled. Next to that, they'll be expecting the other to bring major improvements as well, resulting in Red Bull waiting to see if they're really the ones to beat again. This was something that has happened this year as well, as Christian Horner only started feeling confident about the RB19 after Australian GP. Coming out of Bahrain, we felt like, we've got a really good package here. But we didn't know whether it was circuit-specific, temperature, conditions, asphalt. So, it's only when you've had a sample of 2 or 3 and you've gone to a couple of circuits that have been more troublesome, certainly for us the previous year, like Melbourne for example, that suddenly you're thinking, okay, no, this is really together. It takes a sample of a few races to get a clear overview. Nobody was coming out of Bahrain getting too carried away. Red Bull will be looking to approach the upcoming season the same way, do the best you can before the season starts, and find out if you're the one to beat after a couple of races, even after a dominating season like the last one. So regarding that philosophy, Max Verstappen and Red Bull's technical director, Pierre Wache, agree on where Formula One's current dominating team has to improve for 2024, low-speed corners and curbs. The RB19's isolated defeat in the 2023 season came at a track where those two factors coincided with Red Bull making mistakes in its efforts to change its ride height settings amid its regular event setup work, which contributed to Carlos Sainz's victory for Ferrari in Singapore. In an interview, Verstappen stated that for his team, it helps if we know what direction we are working in, when discussing the not ideal consequence of Red Bull's decreased development time for most of 2023 as a result of its punishment for exceeding the 2021 cost limitation. When asked where Red Bull is focusing its efforts on refining and developing the RB19, statistically F1's most dominating car ever, Verstappen responded, "Mainly I think just street circuits and low-speed curbing. These kind of things. I think we are not the best at the moment." Then Wache was asked about Verstappen's opinion at the 2023 season finale in Abu Dhabi, and the Frenchman verified it. However, he also noted that Red Bull would have to be cautious not to lose the RB19's greatest features in order to solve the few areas where the team thought it struggled this year. The team sees that same weakness, maybe in a different perspective than Max because Max is a driver, but it's more or less summarized quite well where we have to work for next year, said Weish. Low speed is clearly one area. 90-degree corners we are not the best, as you could see in quali in Baku and a different track type there. Singapore also was not a fantastic one. And also, our capacity to ride the curbs and the bumpy tracks is also not perfect, and we have to improve this area. In our system and in this business, you never have nothing for free. You can improve the overall potential of something, but most of the time it's also affecting some other aspect of the car. So, we have to be very careful not to destroy what we built in terms of strengths. It's what we are trying to do. Improve our weaknesses without compromising too much the strengths we have. Red Bull are hoping they will be able to further enhance their weak points and keep on developing their concepts. Other teams, however, are expecting a downfall, especially former Ferrari team head Jean Todt. Speaking from his experience, he stated that Max Verstappen and Red Bull will not be dominating in F1 in 2024. The pursuing teams came closer as F1 2023 continued, with Mercedes, Ferrari and McLaren leading the charge. But with Red Bull abandoning development of the RB19 mid-season to work on the RB20, it remains to be known how much more performance Red Bull may have unlocked. Red Bull are unlikely to lose their way due to the stable regulations between seasons. But former Ferrari head Todt, who was at the helm throughout their run of 6 constructors' titles in a row and 5 drivers' titles from 1999 to 2004, understands how dominant streaks can end abruptly. Following a title double in 2004, Fernando Alonso and Renault ascended to prominence with back-to-back victories in the following seasons, giving Todt grounds to warn that Verstappen and Red Bull are unlikely to dominate F1 in 2024. When asked if the Michael Schumacher Ferrari and Verstappen Red Bull periods are similar, Todt answered, "Yes, there are affinities." Red Bull has built a winning team with an extraordinary driver, very professional, intelligent in the race, a fantastic talent. Don't you remember 2005? Same team, same drivers after a triumphant season. There is Schumacher, yet we are not competitive. We returned to being fast in 2006, but lost due to reliability problems. Michael announces his first farewell to Formula One. He will return with Mercedes in 2010. Meanwhile, we won in 2007 with Kimi Raikkonen and lost in the last meters in 2008 with Felipe Massa. Raikkonen's victory in 2007, Ferrari's final season with Todt as team boss, is the most recent instance of a Ferrari racer winning the Drivers' Championship. In the present day, Ferrari is represented by Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz in search of a title-worthy opponent, with Todt backing Leclerc to return Ferrari to the top. "I support Leclerc," Todt said, of which Ferrari driver may follow in the footsteps of Schumacher. "My son has been following him since he raced go-karts. He is a great driver and deserves the opportunity to win the title." What are your thoughts? Will Ferrari and Leclerc be able to challenge Red Bull in 2024? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below.